Ibrahima Konate was forced off the pitch against Chelsea due to an injury, and Slot has said that he's not sure whether it's a big injury yet, but he hopes that by taking him off, hopefully he would have avoided a lengthy period on the sidelines. But that's quite a setback for Liverpool because Giovanni Leone is obviously going to miss the rest of the season with an ACL injury. But then the news came through that Wataru Endo, who is a natural midfielder but can play at centre back, has also had to withdraw from the Japan international team because of an injury. And that means that Virgil van Dijk and Joe Gomez are Liverpool's only two fit centre backs at the moment, or senior centre backs. So, considering Joe Gomez's history with injuries himself, this has to be a situation, surely, that has to be addressed in the January market with, even if it's not Marc Guehi, something has to be done, surely.
My personal view is that I would like to see them sign someone in January for centre half, just to guard against the fact that it's very, very easy to imagine a world where Gomez and Konate both go down at the same time, and all of a sudden you're in a title race, you're pushing for the Champions League, and you haven't really got that elite centre half there because, you know, Endo, that may be a minor injury, but you don't want to see him starting a big game at centre half. Let's be honest. And, I think he's a very good player. It's, you would feel there would be a weakness there, and then otherwise you kind of bring it in, maybe dropping Gravenberch there, but you would miss him so much in midfield, or you're using a youngster or whatever, and that's just not an ideal scenario. And so, this Leone injury has happened early enough in the season that I think you can justify getting someone in January. Now, the big problem around Guehi is, will Palace think that, whatever money they can get in January is enough to say, well, okay, we don't get to go for the Conference League. We don't get to, they could push for Europe qualifying through the league this season. They've made such a good start. So, what kind of money would justify them letting him go in January? I'm not sure there's a figure out there that would. And maybe the player himself might think, well, what's another few months at Crystal Palace where I'm happy and the team's doing well, in a system that's working and a team that's doing really well. So, that one looks difficult to see. But then Liverpool's argument will be, no doubt, well, then, why would we go out and sign someone we don't really want when we want to wait for Guehi? He's the guy that we want, and we can just get him on a free in the summer. So I have real doubts that they will go into the January market, unfortunately. But I personally, I would like to see them do it, as I think it makes the chances of winning the big trophies much higher. But yeah, we'll see. It would be a nice surprise if they did, albeit I will say that the summer window and the structure of that and what they did was also a big surprise and a big sort of step change from what we'd seen previously. So maybe that's how they approach the January market as well.
Do you think that Ryan Gravenberch will actually become a viable option as a starting centre-back this season if injuries do persist in the team? Because I think back to the 2021 season where Liverpool were defending their title and obviously couldn't really foresee the injuries to Virgil van Dijk. But at the same time, having to use Fabinho and Henderson in the back line, that is not an experience that I would like to relive. So is this something where maybe Slot would instead call up someone from the academy, maybe someone like a Nallo who could come through, or would Gravenberch be that option in defence?
I think Gravenberch would have to be it rather than maybe throwing someone like Nallo in. I think it's just too early for him. I think it's too early for Lucky as another one who's kind of in and around it, but he's still so young. So you would probably see a bit of Gravenberch there if kind of push came to shove. But I don't really necessarily want to see that. I think it's suited to certain kind of game states where Liverpool are really the side that's pushing. They've got all of the ball. They're trying to find a winner or an equaliser. I'm not sure it's something you don't want to be pulling him out of midfield, I don't think, on a regular basis, because I think he's one of the best operators in that position in Europe, to be honest. Again, I've seen a lot of debate around that recently, but I stand firm on that. I think he's one of the better holding midfielders out there. So, yeah, I wouldn't like to see that as a regular option, to be honest, but, it may end up coming to that situation where you need the break glass option. So, yeah, fingers crossed not, but he may end up having to be.